Stephen Dornan is no stranger to battle. He's a decorated veteran of Bosnia and Afghanistan. And now he's fighting again. Fighting cancer, he says, is linked to his military service. And fighting for the disability pension he believes he's owed. He's been repeatedly turned down. And as our Melissa Fung found out, Dornan is frustrated by the decisions and who's making them.
So where's the cameras on this?
It's actually retracted in the nose.
His 25-year military career is coming to an end, and Stephen Dornan is giving his wife Roseanne a tour of the base where he spent so much of his time.
Tactical navigator, like the quarterback, he sat here. That's where, Colonel Seymour, back when he was the young captain and we used to fly together.
He's leaving with mixed emotions. He's loved his job, but believes it will eventually cost him his life. In the 1990s, Dornan was deployed to Bosnia as a weapons inspector for the NATO multinational force. For months, he often found himself crawling through heavily damaged weapons, many of them coated in depleted uranium dust. It was a few years after that tour that he noticed something was wrong.
So around about 2000, I was actually in the dental chair here at the base because we moved to Greenwood in this time. And the dentist looked at it, and of course he's looking at it and he sees the lymph nodes, and he says, well, that's not normal. That's not right. You need to get in and have this checked out.
Dornan did get it checked out, and when he got the results, he had devastating news for his wife.
I remember that day very, very clearly. He said that it was cancer.
The diagnosis, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But with no history of cancer in his family, Stephen was blindsided. Once the Dornans started researching, the pieces of the puzzle started to come together. Bosnia, depleted uranium, and cancer.
I was healthy when I went to Bosnia, and I'm sick when I got home. And by the time I was diagnosed, I was already at late stage, stage 3, of an indolent cancer.
The Dornans applied for a disability pension from Veterans Affairs Canada. If Stephen retired without it, thousands of dollars a year in cancer treatments would have to come out of his own pocket.
I thought, he got hurt, he's sick, they're going to look after him. We don't need to worry.
Little did they know what they were up against. Stephen's first application denied. Veterans Affairs said he didn't have enough medical evidence to link his cancer to his service in Bosnia, saying there are no recorded signs or symptoms during his deployment. So he took his case to the Veterans Review and Appeal Board, or VRAB, a little-known but powerful tribunal that acts as an adjudicator in pension disputes between veterans and the ministry. Denied again. This time, Stephen was told that the causes for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma are unknown, according to the medical manual used by the board. So the Dornans decided to drop their case, and Stephen continued to serve, deploying twice to Afghanistan to help set up the Canadian drone aircraft program, all the while receiving treatment from military doctors.
So I'd go to Camp Julian Hospital in Kabul, Afghanistan, get my oral chemotherapy at night, go to bed, get up the next morning, work all day, and just keep doing that.
Roseanne kept doing research online. She found a veteran in almost the exact same situation who did receive a disability pension.
And I'm breathless at this point, because now all the bells and whistles, there's connections.
Armed with this new information, Stephen and Roseanne went to Ottawa in the fall of 2009 to appeal the VRAB decision again. They were represented by a lawyer from the Canadian Legion. A friend went along to document the proceedings with a video camera. No record of the hearing exists. Video cameras weren't permitted inside. The Dornans weren't even allowed to take notes. But Roseanne will never forget the grilling they got from the members on the panel.
At that point, I knew we were in trouble, big trouble.
Stephen and Roseanne's instincts were right. Their appeal was denied yet again.
In Steve's case, decisions were being made not using the appropriate and necessary and required tests.
The Dornans then hired Dan Wallace to take their case to the federal court.
Mr. Dornan produced quite a bit of expert evidence and evidence available in other countries that have, where their service members were exposed to depleted uranium in Bosnia. The board would use what I would call cherry-picked certain statements and sentences from these reports and ignored other statements that were favorable to Mr. Dornan and ignored the spirit of this expert evidence. I felt that this was an error of fact, in addition to their other errors of law which they made.
So, who are the people who sit on the board of VRAB and how are they chosen? Currently, only 5 of the 24 members have any military background, and only 2 have a medical background. The rest, well, their occupations vary. There are lawyers, business people, even teachers. But the one thing they have in common is that they're all politically appointed. No doubt they're all qualified professionals, but veterans wonder whether they have the experience required to evaluate complex medical evidence.
And the Conservatives, though, have been more careful than past governments in ensuring that someone at least has some qualifications.
Duff Conacher of Democracy Watch says in cases like Dornan's, it would be better to have an independent commission make appointments to boards like VRAB to ensure that veterans with complicated medical cases have access to the most qualified adjudicators.
And it all adds up to these people having enormous power over people's lives and the ability to damage people's lives without really any accountability, except to cabinet. And that makes them political entities, not law enforcement entities like they're supposed to be.
The appointees have to go through an application process where they write an exam and are interviewed before they can be chosen. John Larley is the chairman of VRAB, himself appointed in 2009 by the Conservatives.
So you're confident there's no patronage involved in any of the appointments?
Yes, I'm confident in that our members are well qualified that are appointed to this board.
The other issue that concerns the Dornans is VRAB really independent? After all, it falls under Veterans Affairs, the same department responsible for paying out the pensions.
It would seem like there's an inherent conflict of interest.
We are a separate and independent body from the department and from the Bureau of Pension Advocates. I report to the House of Commons, or the Veterans Review and Appeal Board reports to the House of Commons through the minister.
But it's still through the same minister, and it's still through the same ministry, so...
We're under the portfolio of the Department of Veterans Affairs, but we are a separate and distinct body under that portfolio.
So you do or don't report to the minister?
I don't report to the minister. I report to the House of Commons through the minister.
But still through the minister?
Yes.
Squadron, attention!
It's Stephen's last day of work, and he's being honored at his base in Greenwood, Nova Scotia. He will leave the military on a medical discharge. But last week, another setback. His latest appeal to the board was denied yet again. The Dornans aren't sure what they'll do next. All they know for certain is that Stephen will continue to get sicker.
Mr. Dornan, thank you very much. Congratulations on your outstanding 26 years of service for this country.
What we hope to do, is shed light on the fact that it is a fight. It is an adversarial relationship, no matter how much they will say it's not. You have to be prepared to fight tooth and nail for every claim that you submit.
All right.
Stephen is healthy now. He knows his cancer will kill him in the next 15 years. The only question, how many more of those years will be spent fighting for what he feels he's owed.
It's the right time.
Now, you've got some new developments on this story.
I do. This week, Peter, Veterans Affairs Minister Jean-Pierre Blackburn called the Dornans personally and said that he would look into their case himself.
And you talked to the minister as well.
I did. After we spoke with the Dornans, we had a chance to interview the minister, and I spoke with him at length. I asked him about the idea of establishing an independent commission to make appointments to boards like VRAB, and here's what he had to say about that.
Who should name those people? There is one person who has to take a decision at the end. We are the people who are elected by the population. We have to deliver decision. We have to do our job professionally, correctly, and we are there, and I am there to help our veterans.
You know, Peter, he's only been in that position, that cabinet posting, for a year, and Minister Blackburn says he does want to change the culture of Veterans Affairs, get more veterans in there working for veterans, but he warns that it will take time. Institutional change doesn't happen overnight.
All right, Melissa, thanks very much. Melissa Fung.